Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with and talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
To the second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Way. We've got Devin Board with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
Monday, September 30th, 2024. I am Jimmy here with Chris and Jay-Z. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Thanks, everybody, so much for tuning in tonight. We see you guys in the chat. Matt, Randy, Travis, Marie, checking in as always. Nick Lowe, Randy Cobb, Santos. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We got a great show for you tonight. Yes, terrible week weather-wise. Not just getting races rained out, but obviously the destruction down in the southeast. Thinking about everybody there. I agree here with Randy here. Pretty wild, but it affected pretty much all the racing in the country this week. We didn't get anything in I don't think High Limit was scheduled, but no High Limit, no World of Outlaws, nothing around here in PA. So we still have a great show lined up for you. We got Wes Irwin. He runs the Living Like Outlaws page. He tours with the World of Outlaws. So we're going to talk to him, pick his brain, find out his history, all sorts of stuff. We're going to have a great time. We're also going to preview the National Open and talk about some other things going on this weekend, like the Chili Cook-Off, which we'll be a part of a little bit as well. So, Chris, Jay-Z, how you guys doing tonight?
What's up, buddy? How's it going, man? Happy to be here. Excited for this one.
Yeah, this should be fun. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Daniel. Hagerstown did run 305s. They had a good car count. They had like 50-some cars. Doug Dotson with the win. All right, without any further ado, let's bring on our guest of the evening, Wes Irwin. Wes, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing? I hope you're staying dry. You're muted. You're muted. No, not yet. Was just working. No.
It'll be a hell of an intro when he gets back.
I know, right?
He had to think about what he wanted to say.
No, we still don't have any sound. We have your video. sure.
Hey, Wes, just go ahead and disconnect, come back in. We'll see if it reactivates. You might come back in.
Yeah.
Try
Okay,
that.
very good.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Oh,
there
you
you
got
are.
me?
Yeah, we got you
Hey,
now.
there you
Hey.
Yeah, I didn't do anything, so I
No.
don't know. I
It's
just filled up a
crazy.
glass of bourbon. I have no idea what's going on.
How
Which
are you doing today?
blame on the bourbon?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Just kind of sitting in the toter home because, well, shit, there ain't nothing to do outside. That's for sure. You guys are definitely getting hammered, and I agree with you guys. I really feel bad for everybody down south, especially. I have some friends that had a little damage and stuff down in Florida where I live, so I'm thinking about everybody. That thing was a devastating storm, man. It went through a lot of the country, and racing, we got that all the time. But these people they lose their homes, they're not getting them back. So for all those people that get a little upset that nobody raced this past weekend, boo-hoo, you know what I mean? Those racetracks ain't going anywhere. They'll be there for you next week or next year, whatever the case may be. So, it is what it is. We can't be selfish, and, hopefully everybody's okay. There was a lot of deaths, and that's sad,
Yeah.
The storms have seemed to have gotten a lot worse. I've been through a few myself in Florida, living down there before I worked for the Outlaws, and, heeded the warnings of leaving the area, and they're pretty nasty, man.
They're nothing to play around with.
No doubt. So appreciate you being here, man. I talked to the guys the other day, and we kind of put this together pretty last minute. So we appreciate the time, and we were hoping you'd be available before the week really got going, and
Yeah.
the festivities. So, um, for people that don't know you, maybe the first time, or they know you in this form, give us a little bit about your history, because there's a few people around here that will know this, but I've watched you run a sprint car before in central Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
let's go back a little bit, kind of your family and your racing history, and kind of where where you got to today.
Yeah, you probably watched me run one, not very well, but I did, yes. And it's always I'm happy to know that I have sat in a sprint car and raced many laps on one, and the accomplishments that the guys and I had, and the girls that helped out. How we survived, I don't know. How we made money the race, I don't know. But we pulled it off. I'm a wheeler and dealer sometimes, and I can I can toot my horn a little bit. So they probably left us race for a lot more years than we probably should have. But born in this area, man. Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania. There used to be a racetrack there back in the day. It was actually a racetrack, then it was a baseball field for a minor league team, and then it went back to being a racetrack. So my dad started racing there. And then it carried on to Silver Spring. My brother, my late brother Mike Irwin, raced the Super Sportsman for a lot of big name teams like the Godfrey brothers and Hal Bittner and the Bigler family. So I was never really in cars early in my career because I was in Florida racing jet skis professionally. So once I was old enough to move to Florida, I did, and ended up racing jet skis, and I did very well at that sport. Made a lot of money, raced professionally, and it was a good time. But the whole time I was doing that, getting older, I kept thinking to myself, I need to get into a sprint car. That was the ultimate goal, and do what my family did. And I finally got that opportunity. Jet ski racing kind of was starting to take a downfall in the marketplace, with sponsorships, and I was just getting old too. And it was time to do it. So I got into sprint car racing very late in my life. I was kind of like Smokey Snailbaker, God rest his soul. He was a good dude. Started late in my career. I didn't have the results that man had, but I got to race for about 11, 12 years. Ran the 358s, doing Trailway, Lincoln, Williams Grove, Port Royal, wherever they would race us, and having a lot of fun. And then I ended it with in a 360, and I just seen the writing on the wall. Got injured up at Selinsgrove. The money wasn't there as much as it used to be, and I thought, well, I'm pretty good at running my mouth, so let's try to do something better. And tried to get into podcast world and things like that. That didn't pan out, so I got lucky. Some people in the organization with World Racing Group knew I was getting out of racing and knew of me and knew that I'm a very passionate person, and offered me a job with the World of Outlaws, and here I am. 7 years later, I'm still there, and I'm enjoying it. It fits me pretty well. I get to stay involved in racing, even though I'm not, in the seat anymore. So it's kind of cool.
So with your travels, I mean, this job you have, it seems like if you can make the lifestyle work, it seems like the best job on the planet. You get to watch racing, you get to travel around with these guys, you sell merch, the Facebook page that you have with the restaurants and the visiting these towns and the journey that you're on. I think a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, this is the West Show," but it's not, right? I think it shows kind of the journey of what it's like on the road. And even if you're not working on a race car every day, it's what's it like for people to live on the road, mobile all the time, and winter and off season's there. But like, I think it really gives a neat insight. So, what has allowed you to do this for so long? You love it. Obviously, you love it. And you have a passion for the sport, but it also can't be easy at times.
No, it's a good one, because I look at things and not knocking any of the series out there, but I see so many people come and go. 2 years is pretty much the max in an organization like the one I'm in, but there are a couple lifers, and it looks to be that I'm one of those. And it doesn't bother me, man. I love this lifestyle. I don't know what it is about it, but it fits me perfectly. I've always had kind of that. As a kid, always had that, I want to go on an adventure kind of life anyway. I always had that in my head, and this is just, this is part of it. And yeah, you're right. I get to see racing. I've probably seen every national monument you can imagine. I've been to every good restaurant. You name it. I mean, I've seen it. I've done it. Baseball games. I'm a big fan of that, so I get to see them all over the country. Concerts. Sometimes you stumble across something you didn't even know was going on. And, I try not to plan too much, but you look ahead a couple weeks, and but yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. It's hard out there. I think like even crew guys probably got it the worst. That's a tough gig, man. And for those guys that come out here and do that, be away from home, live like they do, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but just live that hard road life. I might have it a little easier than them per se, but that's tough, man. They're working on cars in a parking lot, after they race. So the next day isn't a day off for them. And, I don't know how much these guys are working for these days. Some of them are taken pretty good care of, but like, to come out and do that's a pretty tough thing. And you gotta, not that I don't care about family. I do care about family. I love my mom and dad, my sister. My family's gotten smaller as I got older. That's what happens when you get older. But, I'm just do really well I just do really well being on my own. I'll get to see my parents here tomorrow at Moose's LZ. So we're gonna have some dinner with them. They live here. Yes, they're still here. And again, if you have a home life, this ain't the job for you. If you got a family, this ain't the job for you, because you're not going home. More these days than back in the old days. They do get to go home a lot more because the company found out that flying people home is cheaper than putting them up in hotels and renting cars and stuff right now. So it's a different time. Like I said, every 2 years it's different people, and every 2 years it seems like it changes out here. So you see more people going home than we used to back in the day. When I first started, there was many drivers that had RVs and stayed out on the road with us. Pretty much now it's just myself, the guy that drives for Donnie Schatz, and Johnny Gibson. I mean, Logan Schuhart and Sheldon Bonchild, they both have RVs. Bill Baylog did. He kind of had some problems with his at that flood in Houston, so he hasn't had his back out. So, there's not many of them, but back in the day, Darren Pittman, Shane Stewart, everybody had an RV, and everybody stayed on the road. Nobody went home. But it's definitely changed a lot. And to answer your question, yeah, it's not for everybody, but I guarantee you everybody wants my job just because they get to see the fun things I do. And that's what I do on my page. I try to show you what's out there for a race fan through my eyes. Unfortunately, it seems like it's about me sometimes, but it's through my eyes. So obviously it's going to be about me. But, I look at my page as more of a fan guide, like, hey, man. And it's been a lot of bars and restaurants that people go to and say, hey, we went to that place and we really enjoyed it. Or riding along into the track. I haven't done one of those in a while, but I got to get back to it. I had to get a new phone mount again. I beat the hell out of those things on the road. And, just showing people way into a track or they didn't realize they had plenty of space for camping, I think I'm helping out with like a more of a guide for fans to check that that track off their bucket list.
No, I love that in that perspective, and I never really thought of it that way because when I see you and you're in Central PA, the places you hit up and we're like, yeah, that checks out. That's the right place. So,
Yep.
we have to. I think when you travel around, and if I was gonna make a trip to Eldora, Attica, go down south or further west, I think I would have to. How would you know, right? You're going to ask the locals, do whatever. But
Right.
man, what a better resource than a guy like you who's been there, been around it 7 times, or you've been around that trip, every time. So,
Well,
um,
and always remember, it's my opinion. I mean, somebody else might go into that bar or restaurant and not like it, but I like them, and I'm not. If I don't like something, when I go into a place, I take pictures of it and I get ready to post about it. If I don't like it, if I didn't enjoy my meal or I didn't enjoy my service, I just don't say anything about it. Which a lot of race fans need to learn how to do when they're talking about race tracks and series and drivers.
It's fair.
Yeah, no kidding. So with that, I don't want to get into the negative too much here, but have you felt this is a different vibe this year as you've been out on the road a little bit from maybe not fans, but it's hard to ignore the changes that have happened this year. And whatever side, obviously you're with the World of Outlaws and World Racing Group, and we aren't going to take a side here, but have you felt a little bit of a different vibe from not only the people you're traveling with and see every weekend, but fans or anything? Have you noticed? Or is it sort of a placebo effect where I'm picking up on it more than I should? Or, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Kind of my question.
Well, I feel because it's new, with the High Limits series, that's a brand new thing. It's very interesting. You got Kyle Larson's name in there. You got my friend Rico. You got those guys are they draw a crowd, and it's all new. So some people are kind of reading into it because of that, because it's fairly new. Let's see where it's at in 5 years. But obviously it's gonna be a lot like our deal. Eventually, it's gonna have to be. But as it affected us, just a very little bit, man. To be honest with you, I don't really see a change other than the fan has a lot more to choose from, and it might have saturated things a little bit, But it hasn't really affected me of what I do. I don't feel like it's affected anybody else either.
I got to imagine, kind of staying on this topic a little bit, but I would imagine everybody at World Racing Group kind of had a huge weight lifted off their shoulders that California didn't have rain. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, it certainly didn't have any rain. I don't even know. Like, it was just hard to find a cup of water. It was dry, and it was like a desert out there. But yeah, I mean, to get through successfully 6 races and not have any weather other than heat advisories, that's pretty good. Because like back in the day when we used to go out there in the spring, I mean, we'd go out for 8 races and lose 6 of them, and that's terrible stuff. Today in this age, after COVID, obviously, everything went up in prices like diesel and things like that. And, the World Racing Group did what they had to do to make that make sense and not go out there twice just because, well, I mean, teams couldn't afford it. And it sounds silly, but it's true. And, logistically, they got better at what they're doing, too, as far as keeping everything a little bit closer together. So the miles are less than they used to be. We're still doing a lot of miles, but they're not like they used to be. And, so yeah, that was good to go out to California and just have that go, pretty smoothly. Other than some rough tracks and things like that, everything went pretty well.
The one thing that I noticed this year that I very much appreciate, not this year, but even in like really COVID and to now, is that they're very open to making not last minute decisions or changes, but being decisive, being proactive about it. The Sealands Grove situation, COVID was really a good example of making the best of what they had and, switching it up and coming to Pennsylvania last year, the year before in March.
Yeah.
I think that is, they certainly have the freedom to do it, but I think that's also can be risky at times.
Yeah.
And I think they were pretty smart about where they calculated that risk going, hey, Central PA, we really can't go wrong. Hey,
Well,
COVID, we're going to do what we got to do, and people will show up because they want to get out of the damn house.
Sure.
Even the
Well,
Sealands Grove
and, I
situation.
mean, obviously the race fan here in central Pennsylvania is some of the best, and, live, breathe, eat, and sleep racing. And when it's over, we see a lot of them down at the World Finals. I think the World Finals is mostly the state of Pennsylvania anymore. But you see people down there, and they're ready for the season to start already. I mean, we're talking about driving race cars in snow at Lincoln Speedway. That's pretty crazy to me because I don't like cold weather. But we've taken some. I think we've taken some risks, by racing in Pennsylvania real early that 1 year, and but people weren't driving far if it did get snowed out or rained out or it was too cold. It was saving the teams from traveling really far. So you got to do what you got to do. Finding races in the spring, I'm not involved in any of that. It's got to be a nightmare, putting that schedule together and trying to find. California's about the only really place you can go and race in the springtime, but you're doomed with rain a lot. So just tough to put a full race schedule together, especially in the spring. And it's not easy, when you got fans that get a little mad and upset about canceling too early or canceling too late. So it makes it tough.
It does, and I don't think there's a state in the country that's really immune from weather, whether it's frozen or not, in that time of the year. I mean, there really isn't. We've tried Texas, we've tried Georgia, we've tried to Florida. Obviously, Florida, you never know, Volusia. Daytona, we see that every year at Speed Week. You just never know. They've tried the California thing and had to scrap it completely. So, it does suck. Like when we get going in the icebreaker and you get some Volusia races and everybody's like, all right, race season. Well, shit, they could go 6 more weeks and not have a race because
Sure.
you just don't know where the weather's going to be. Um, you know, for people that don't know, you're traveling around, you're doing these things, you're sort of the tour guide, but when you're at the racetrack, what are your roles and responsibilities at the racetrack?
Well, I'm pretty much just take care of the midway, make sure, and hopefully next year you're going to see a lot more from me in the midway as far as entertainment wise. I'm looking forward to some of the ideas that are being thrown around to kind of make my job. I've asked them to add a little more to it, give me a little more challenge, give me a little more responsibility, because at the end of the day, it's 7 years in, it's like I'm just selling a t-shirt now. And, it's great and everything. I get to go watch the races because the girl that works with me doesn't mind not watching the races, and kind of a deal we made. And so it is cool, but I need more, and hopefully they're going to give me more. But my job is just getting everybody parked, taking care of my drivers that have merchandise, and whether it be an open midway or not an open midway, and trying to keep the peace. It's kind of hard sometimes. Everybody's got rules, and dealing with the track promoters, and I'm always usually there the day before, handling some things on the side. But once we get rolling, it's pretty easy. It's pretty self-explanatory. We just do our thing and watch the racing, put our shit away when it's over, and hit the road to the next one. But it's not hard. I don't have a lot of responsibility. I'm hoping to get some more of that, to be honest with you.
So last sort of on the road question for me, what venue this year has been your favorite venue? Now, it could be your favorite venue every single damn year, but what's one that stood out to you this year that you really enjoyed being at, either setting up? I don't care, for whatever reason, what's been your favorite venue this year?
Oh, yeah, that's always a tough one, when people ask that question, because, my God, I don't know how many. I'd like to count how many tracks I've actually been to in 7 years, and this year, I don't know. I'm going to say, there was a good feel. I really like the feeling we had at BAPS this year, to be honest with you, because it was our second time in, and back to back like that, and I felt good. I felt good about it. I was hoping the crowd would be a little bit bigger. I'm hoping that one day that track can get a weekend show, and I think that'll really be a really good time, and a good show for that area. Scott does a good job and with there in Lincoln, but I felt a good vibe there for whatever reason. I just felt like a great vibe. It might not have been everybody else's vibe, but it was mine. But you can't go wrong with Knoxville. Knoxville always has a special vibe to it. I felt like Tomic had a good vibe to it this year too. But if I had to narrow it down, I'd say probably the most exciting event and most ambience again, hands down, is Knoxville wins again. You just can't beat that deal with the things that happen there that go on the side. I will tell you, I've been there how many times now, and now we're racing there 3 times a year in Knoxville. So, Knoxville has maybe wore out a little bit of the luster for me, but when we come around to those Knoxville Nationals, it quickly picks back up. Just the excitement you get from other people. Even if you're not excited anymore, the excitement coming from the fans makes me feel like a school kid again. You know, it's like opening a Christmas present, man. I'm telling you, it's just a fun time.
Yeah, those good vibes are definitely contagious, no matter what. And I think like the Baps thing is intriguing to me that you said that, because when there is a bigger show there, that the way that parking is set up and the way people kind of come across the road there, it has a very open, inviting feel, and it feels like where you were and where people are, they're right there, kind of congregated. They don't feel like you're. Some of these tracks feel like when you park, you walk in, you go back, you're down, and you're just kind of down away. Everything at Baps is sort of like comes to the track. It kind of the way that front face is there. I've felt those vibes too. A buddy of ours does iRacing with us, has a like a reserve spot right beside Brickers, right along the road, and they put up a tent, and they're right along the street, just everybody passing by, drinking, carrying on, and it just does have like this festive type vibe to it. I don't. It's hard to explain, but
Well,
just the way it's funneled in.
I feel like maybe the reason it has that is because so many people for so long wanted to see that track become successful again. They kind of, I'm very fortunate. This is something maybe some people don't know, but when Scott Gobrecht bought that track, when it was still named Susquehanna Speedway, I actually worked for a year there for him. Many don't know that. I camped at the track. I lived at the track, and this is right before I signed up with the Outlaws. He had hired Colton as the general manager, and I was kind of like your fan liaison. So if you've seen some goofy things going on in the front stretch, I put that together that first year. But I helped watch that place. My hands were involved in watching that place turn, from a diamond in the mud to a diamond in the, the rough. So I think maybe that's what it is for Baps. Maybe people are just excited for it, to see it succeed after all these years. I'd like to see that for Selinsgrove one day. That's a great track. I did many laps there. Had my worst injury ever there, but that didn't stop me from racing there. I'd love to see that place get back to rolling forward again like it used to be back in the old days. But hopefully that'll happen. And these tracks, these Pennsylvania tracks, man, they've been around for a long freaking time, and they seem to survive, and that's because of the fans. So the fan base has changed a lot, though. Fans are a little more boisterous, and it can hurt us sometimes. But again, I think maybe that's where we're thinking maybe Baps had a good vibe. People just wanted to see them succeed with the World of Outlaws being there, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll be honest with you. I think in our inner circle, we really were rooting when the Selinsgrove change happened. Not that we wanted like root for their downfall, but when we heard Lincoln was announced for that Saturday, we were like, "Ooh, Baps Friday? What, like, ooh, like, hey, we can do this! Like this, listen, 25 minutes apart. Like, we were kind of rooting like in our inner circle about it. But obviously, there's a lot of logistics involved.
Well, logistics, and I'm with you. I was rooting too, but perhaps people don't know what goes into these events financially, and just a little too much maybe for Mr. Gobrecht at that time to put on another 2 shows at his track. So you got to do what you got to do, and logistically and things like that, and just weather and thinking about things that are going on right now. Once you go past that point where kids go back to school, now you're flirting with disaster when you're having events, because you're going up against, high school football. You're going up against a lot of stuff. Weekends are a little less, it's not summertime anymore. The kids can't really, there's too much to choose from. You got Hershey Park, you got the Halloween stuff going on, and I'm a big fan of that. So I'm a Halloween freak. My birthday's coming up. My birthday's on the 24th. So, my parents always had Halloween parties for my birthday. So I'm a big Halloween nut. And that's why I'm doing a pumpkin carving contest at Williams Grove again.
I did have that queued up.
We're gonna get into that next. Jimmy, Chris, what do you got for Wes? Go ahead.
Chris?
I was just going to go real quick. Do you have a favorite memory from your time on the road so far? Any of the years?
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, if I had a good memory, I could tell you. But being a little older, you can ask a lot of my close friends. I forget a lot of stuff, and there's just so many. I don't even know where I would begin. I think my favorite memories are some of the great friendships I made. And what they've turned into with people. And that's probably, I'd have to say, my favorite. But like being friends with Kenny Wallace and Ken Schrader and people like that, Brad Doty. I've gotten really close all these guys. And, those are great memories to cherish, to have a relationship with these guys that has so much knowledge about our sport and motorsports in general,
We have a comment here from Melissa Fullerton. Says Wes is an amazing guy. He has done so much for the youth drivers. Our daughter Michaela is one of his first Living Like Outlaws youth program drivers. He has been a huge role model to her. Tell us a little bit about this youth program and what you got going on with that.
Yeah, right now we have it on a hold pattern, so that's why you haven't seen any of the kids doing videos this past month, because I'm bringing in some new people to help me with the project, so we can actually take it to the next level. But it all started basically like, I thought to myself, here I started this Living Like Outlaws, and it grew because obviously I work for the World of Outlaws. So let's face it, if I would have started this on my own, it wouldn't be as big as it is. I captured their audience, which made my stuff a little more popular. And I thought to myself, here I got this this wonderful stage to work off of, so to speak. And why not help some other people? And I help with the benevolent fund, and we do things like that. Anything I can do when I have all those eyes on me like that. So I thought, well, let's help some kids, because that is our future. And they get kind of overlooked. And today kids don't have a lot to choose from racing anymore. And it's getting expensive, even if they can race. So we had the season going pretty well with 25 drivers, 25 kids from all across the United States. I got 2 in England as well. They don't do per se. They don't do as many videos as the kids in the States do, but I got a different program going on with the kids from England. But great kids. Just a great group of kids. 50% girls, 50% boys, and all of them have something special about themselves, and are really good racers, come from different walks of life, and it's just fun to watch them grow. Some of them like she's talking about her daughter Michaela has been with me a long time. So to watch these kids grow up and move up different classes from quarter midgets to micros, and some of them are in sprint cars now. It's just crazy. And I do this I share their videos. They do videos for me basically. And I share them on my page just to get them a little more noticed. Maybe grow their fan base a little more if they're selling items, or just them being on videos talking about their sponsors. Their sponsors are liking the fact that they're doing this stuff on the side too. So it's a whole package deal, where it's a market trade out kind of thing. And but the fun thing about it is these kids become family to me, and it's like I have 25 kids. But I can send them home when I'm done with them. So they're a great group of kids. I love it, each and every one of them, and they become close to my heart. So we put it on hold right now, and I got some other people getting involved, and I think what you're going to see with that whole thing is going to become quite big. Actually, I might open a can of worms that turned into a bigger can of worms, and now it might be something. And we're talking, a lot of money involved in sponsorships and things like that, and some discounts for the kids on certain things. And we're working on it. I'm working hard on it. I just feel like these kids don't have the fairest shot in the world anymore, like, they used to. And, the one thing I tell everybody, I just remember, I don't feel like, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but I don't feel like racetracks, any of us, do enough for kids at the racetracks like anymore. I don't feel like we make them feel important. Families are, parents are a lot younger these days, and, they're busy doing what they do, and the kids kind of get overlooked at a racetrack. So I just remember, I'm going to bring back like a memory, and it's just crazy. Like, I remember the guy used to sell the grab bags at Silver Spring Speedway. They were like a quarter. I'm probably dating myself right now and telling everybody how old I am, but they were a quarter. So you got this mystery bag, and it could have bubble gum in it. Trading cards back then they even had of the racers and stuff. Just had all this fun stuff in it. And that guy that sold those would always take time out of his day to make you feel like you were important. And that goes a long way with me. These kids that are fans that might never race cars, we got to capture their attention too. So, they're all going to run off and get married, go to college, go in the military. Their life's going to change when they get old enough. But if they had a good memory of racing, if they have a good memory of being at the racetrack with their family, guess where they're going to bring their family eventually? Back to the racetrack. So, we got to have kids around in race cars to be those next racers for us. So that's where that comes in, where I'm trying to help them a little bit more, whatever I can do. I mean, I'm not a saint by any means, but my little bit of help helps. I'm going to do it, you know?
That's fantastic.
Well,
Go ahead.
we're gonna have to have some conversations on the background when these kids are ready to get out in here. We'll get them on the show, man. We'll have to figure something out, get some exposure. We don't have nearly as many followers as you do. We're on the upswing, but
You know,
anytime we can get them in front and out talking and exposure, we love it. And one of the things we've done in the last year or two, we've obviously had some big guests on that everybody knows, but one of the things we love to do is get to know these guys that people don't know yet.
yeah,
And who knows where it goes, right? They get to see someone, they like what they talk about. They know someone who knows someone. You never know, right? And that exposure, I think,
yeah.
can't be a bad thing. So we'll have to get together and chat some more about this in the future for
Sure.
sure.
Yeah.
I
You
would
know,
love to get
some of the
involved
kids
now.
have been very fortunate. You know, it's weird that you say that. You know, we have followers. I have a lot of followers. It's growing. You know, it's so weird. You guys know as well as I do the whole Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. It's like the platforms and how they do things are so stupid sometimes. But like I watched my Facebook page just freeze at a number now for the last month, and I'm not sure why. And that has something to do with them, I'm sure of it. But hopefully that'll start picking back up again. But as I'm closing in on 30,000 on the Facebook deal, and I like to get there before the year's out. And but you know, some of these kids, I have followers, and you don't know who these followers are. And some of them are business people, and some of these business people that follow my page and enjoy it started seeing the kids on there, and two of the kids that got some sponsors through some of these people because they were in their area. Now I had nothing to do with it, but that just goes to show you what can happen.
Them.
You know?
Yeah, it helps connect them.
That's correct.
Yeah, that helps just build the next. It's not just the next generation of racers.
Yeah.
But it's the entire community that we all know, and what we love about it now is what we want to try to continue to build.
Yeah.
For this younger fan base to keep this going, you know, for years and years to come. So it's very important. I love what you do with it.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but like racing, it's still good. I mean, it's better than ever. I mean, I think right now we're in sprint car racing's in a good place. But it is a new generation of people. The fans, you know, the fans are definitely getting different. The old dogs are all, you know, they're moving on, passing on, and you know, we don't have that same kind of fan anymore. So it takes a lot to make fans happy these days. So you know, it's going to be tough for kids going into the future in racing. You know, trying to make it.
Yeah, I don't envy series and tracks at all when it comes to that, because the attention span is so much shorter. You know, they want different things. Like we're talking, like we've talked multiple times this season about like how like Williams Grove, they do like 2 kids nights a year. You talk about like the grab bags and stuff, and those things are great, but you can't do that every week. You know what I mean? Well, hey, you open up the pits, they meet the driver and everything, but then if you oversaturate it, then it's not special anymore. You know, so. I definitely don't envy these tracks in the series. They have, you know, you're trying to keep your fan base that are paying the money to come every week, the adults, you know, happy, but also trying to continue to build a fan base for the future. It's not easy in this day and age.
If fans just knew what a track owner goes through, and I do a little more now these days, you know, I'm around it a lot more, and you know, I've gotten to know a lot of these track owners across the country personally, and some of the general managers or promoters or whatever their title may be. And, you know, I'm like, man, these people have the biggest shoulders that I've ever met in my life, because for the amount of beating and tongue lashing they get, you know, in the social media world today, or from the fans anymore, you know, it's amazing that some of them just say, you know what, screw it, I'm closing my shit down. So we got to be grateful for what we have. And I always, you know, encourage people to think about that before they want to tongue lash a track. It's like, you know, especially like here in Pennsylvania, we can use it as an example. I mean, it's no secret Williams Grove gets a tongue lashing a lot. It gets beat up pretty good, but like, how would you like to not have any of these tracks? You know, You guys got a gold mine of racetracks here, and it's like, I just hope that stays that way. And you know, if you ain't got nothing good to say, you just don't say anything. You know what I mean? And it's that's important, I think. And you know, I've been struggling to get that across to people. Kenny Wallace is big on that kind of thing right now, where he's doing the Kenny Wallace challenge. And I I take it every day. It was where you say something nice about something, and that's it, period. And, yeah, I mean, kudos to these track owners and promoters, man. Like, I'm telling you, I see what they go through and the shit they gotta put up with. It's like, I don't know. That's hard. A lot of people just fold and say, you know what, I'm done. And, cause we're just really tough on them. So we got to get better at that, as fans.
We're guilty of that ourselves a little bit here, because there's times where we're a little critical of certain things, but we feel like, at least our platform here, we feel like we try to be fair and balanced, and like, hey, we try to view that side of it. If there's fair criticism, we'll do fair criticism, but we try to view things from every sort of angle. And just there's times where, like, especially when it comes to like cancellations or something like that, it's just kind of like Mother Nature always wins. What do you want to do? Like, we could sit here and debate it all day.
That's right.
What are you going to do? So
you just move on, and you move on, and you worry about next weekend. That's all you can do.
No,
hey,
Jimmy, you're all wrong.
Good news, man. We got great weather going into the Natty Open this year.
And that's where we're going next. But that's where we're going to go next. But I'm telling you, Baps was wrong the other week. They shldn't have canceled. Okay?
They were wrong.
Okay, they were wrong.
Well, I think a lot of tracks were following everybody else, and with that hurricane coming up through, I think a lot of people might have jumped some of them jumped the gun a little bit, but in all fairness, they were preparing for what a lot of people went through, and I think maybe that's just it. It was smarter to do it. A lot of people are. I think more fans are happier when you do it early instead of later, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
It's all perspective, right? I was pissed because I really like going to Baps, and it was a big show, and I thought it was going to be okay, and I wanted them to wait it out. No, there's no competition that night, and I was like so disappointed, man. I
mean, I don't know about you guys as kids though. When you went to the races and you were a little kid, if they were going to have the races, they got canceled. Did you cry? I cried. I mean, I cried my ass off. Like, I hated when the races got canceled. It's just something. I mean, well, that just goes to show you how passionate we are. That it means that much to us.
No doubt. All right, let's get into this week a little bit. We've already kept you here 40 minutes.
I don't mind. It's all good.
We appreciate it so much. This is a big week, obviously, and this is part of the reason I reached out and because I wanted to have this mix, right? Like, you're a PA guy, Florida guy, World of Outlaw guy, but I know your heartstrings pull a little bit because it's posse country, and this is sort of home, right? This is home, but you're World Racing Group. So what I want to get your view of the World of Outlaws coming into Central PA right now, because I know you're a follower of the sport. Give me your kind of view on the World of Outlaws versus Posse in late September, early October, National Open time. Not necessarily what's happened all year, because everything has changed, right? But what happened in March doesn't matter right now. And we know that from point standings. We know that from, even Morgan Cup time when it's Summer Nationals. It all has changed some. So what's your view of the landscape, Posse versus Outlaws right now as we go into National Open Week?
Well, I felt like it fell off a little bit back in the day, but it seems like it's kind of coming back to the old days when it was really that big rivalry. But like, I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, like this year leading up to the National Open, let's say 4 weeks ago, I seen a lot of good vibe about it, man. I mean, I've really seen a lot of people excited about the National Open this year. So I'm thinking going into this year, it might be a little more special. And I think it's kind of like the last race of the year, so to speak. So I think there's bigger money involved. There's a bigger crowd there. People are camping. They're having a good time. The weather's perfect for racing. Everybody's got a fire going at night. And it's a lot, everybody's, picking their favorite driver around the fire for the next day and, taking pokes at each other. You got some Outlaw fans. You got some Posse fans. It's just a really good vibe going on now about it. I think the rivalry is really good. And, I think our guys are excited to come here too. They might tell you, you might hear some of the Outlaw drivers say, man, that place is so hard to figure out. I hate going there. But they only hate going there because the guys are so hard to beat, and so I think it's I think they love the competition as far as the National Open goes. So it just feels really good this year. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Pennsylvania this year and me, not just because I lived here and I raced here, but I've been pretty quiet about it for the last 6 years anyway, several years. I just feel like there's a really good buzz right now and racing's kind of reshaping itself again. So I feel there's a good vibe. I feel like we're going to have a lot of people kid with me, and it's kind of fun. I don't take no offense to some of the things that people say to me when I roll into town, because I know they love me and I know they're just kidding. So it's all good.
Yeah, and listen, I think you're right to a point. I feel like it's been a little bit quiet. Like I feel like, you know, the buzz for me, for all of us, was Summer Nationals and TJ Stutz, that win. And
Yeah.
we had TJ on the week after, and man, that place was
Yeah.
alive. And
Well,
we
and that
partied.
momentum carries over into this race this weekend. You know what I mean?
agree. Yep.
Yeah, and he's had a good year, and there's guys that have been really good at Williams Grove. Justin Whittall, you know, there's a few guys that have really picked up their game even since Summer Nationals to now that really could be a factor that could really play into it for Pennsylvania. And I got to be honest, it's been a while since I partied with people partying that hard after that Friday night TJ Stutz win. Like, it was a vibe around the campground. Now Saturday was a little more subdued, right? We got the, McFadden,
Gravel.
right? McFadden won.
Gravel.
Gravel did win. Sorry. So like, it was definitely different, but I feel like we've had these rainouts and we haven't really raced a whole lot lately. I feel like it's kind of but I'm really hoping, man, we get there Friday, place is packed. It has that energy like we expect at Williams Grove for the National Open. Weather's going to be fantastic.
Perfect.
So give me 2 outlaw guys and give me 2 posse guys you got your eyes on.
Well, it's there's several, maybe 10, guys that you could maybe say, hey, they're going to have a shot at this. I mean, obviously qualifying is important in these days, but as far as outlaws go, I mean, Gravel's hot right now. It's hard to beat that guy. He's pretty on the money. I would have to say too that I would really love to see Logan do something here back at home. He's really been struggling a little bit this year, and for whatever the reason may be. But everybody always bounces back from that stuff. So it'd be nice to see him step up to the plate. But if I had to say anything, I think you're going to watch for Gravel or Donnie shots. I just feel like Donnie's he's on it right now.
Yeah.
He has no worries in the world. He's just enjoying. I got to talk to him a little bit. He's just enjoying life, man. He's enjoying racing. He's not taking it so pressury anymore, and I like that. I like this new Donnie shots that I'm starting to see, and it's showing on the track. So those guys right there, I'd have to say, I'd look out for them. Obviously, I don't know if Brent Marks is in town or if he's going to be in town. I'm sure he will be. So obviously he's always a hard one to beat there. He's pretty good there. I don't know if we really call him. I don't know if you guys call him posse or not. But
he's posse.
He's posse.
He's posse.
He's not. Yeah.
He's something, right? But I'd have to say, I don't know how good Macri. It doesn't seem like Macri does very well there, like he should. But I know that 69 car, whoever's going to be in it. I don't know who's in it right now, but that thing there probably will be up front somewhere too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I like all of those, and man, I got to be honest with you. If there's ever going to be an outlaw that won that would get a cheer, it's Logan Schuhart for sure.
Yeah, right.
Like, that place went bananas last year when he beat Sweet off of 4. Was that Summer Nationals?
Summer Nationals.
So,
yeah, it was a Summer Nationals.
Place went bananas. I'm on the back stretch walking toward the front stretch, and I didn't why is everybody cheering? Nobody's cheering for Brad Sweet to win this race, and he had to lead by 5 car lengths into 3, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell just happened? But Logan would be obviously a great win. People would cheer for it. And listen, I don't know if Jacob's in town. I assume he will be. He was so close to a win at Williams Grove 2 years ago, the Morgan Cup, I want to say.
Yeah.
Brent got it, or Summer Nationals. That was going to be a super popular win. And I don't know if he's had that Williams Grove speed, but that would be another one that's not a low. I mean, he's posse, but he's not.
I believe that other series is done for this season, the high limits, correct? So you might see a handful
4
of
races
guys
left, but
I think they have a few left.
They have 4 left,
but they're not racing this weekend. And Brad Sweet already clinched the championship. They announced that today.
Okay, yeah. So you're going to see a handful of them. So I would think that you would see Jacob. You know what I mean? You might even see Brad. So, it'll be interesting for sure. That's what keeps it fun. Everybody thinks. I feel like people want to say, "Oh, who's going to win," but they don't know who's going to win. That's the thing. Williams Grove can produce a different winner. I think. Justin Peck can win there. You know what I mean? There's guys that can come out of you might not think about off the top of your head, but they can turn around and win there. I mean, my buddy Gio Selzy, man, he's been hot too. And he's a young kid.
Good at Waves Grove too.
His notebooks are getting better, and you're going to start seeing him towards the front a lot more going into next year. So, as he gets more experience on these tracks, I mean, you can't count out any of our guys really. Macedo's always can be a factor. Now, I don't think Carson does really well at Williams Grove, if history serves me, but I don't want to say that. I mean, they all do well. They're all doing better than I'm doing, that's for sure. But I'm not in a race car, but I think it's just going to be very fun. I mean, I feel like, with the ambiance of camping and the weather being perfect, there's going to be a good feel. I think you're going to get a good car count this year. Everybody's going to go to the auction on Saturday and have a good time. I usually try to buy something there. And then everybody's going to head over to the chili cook-off and deal. And I mean, look how that's grown.
So go ahead, Jimmy, Chris, let's get into that. Let's get into that stuff.
Yeah, so Chili Cook-Off is going to be a great time. We are also doing a live stream there from 10 to noon is what it's looking like. So there'll be, I guess you're judging some of the chili this year?
Yeah, I did it once. I did it 2 years ago. I didn't get to do it last year, but this year I've been asked to be a judge. I love being a judge, man. I mean, one, it's really fun, and some of these guys really put their heart and effort into it. And I mean, there's a lot on the line for it too. I mean, I've seen some of the money they're putting out. This is really great, man. And so that whole deal there. I don't know what's going on there.
No, I was putting up the money here. It's $1,000. $1,000 for $1,000 for first place, $500 for second, and $250 for third. And then People's Choice Award for $100.
And you have there's been on an average 12, 13 contestants. So, if not anything, I definitely have a good lunch before the night starts. But
right there.
I encourage people that are watching or following or going to watch this later, if they watch this before the National Open, go down there around 11 o'clock because you can sample everybody's stuff. You just throw a quarter in their bucket and they give you a little cup. So if you walk around to enough of them, you don't have to buy lunch later.
There's a lot of them too. There's usually like 20 to 30 of them at least. Yeah,
it's crazy, man, how many people do it. And it's really, really, actually, a lot of them are really good. And I'm over here at staying at Sam's place, JVI, the JVI Group Incorporated. I'm parked there. Sam always hooks me up, gives me a vehicle to use. And it's just funny. These guys are in and out of here all night. This guy's got quite the business over here. So you'll be there for the chili cook-off. We'll be there doing a live stream. Yeah, that's great that you guys are doing that. Do you have some guests?
Yeah, so I guess we're still trying to lock a couple down. Yeah. But I think TJ Stutz, Lucas Wolf, Matt Campbell, they're going to be judging there, so we'll try to grab them. And we got a couple things planned. As we lock them down here throughout the week, we'll announce it more. But we'll definitely, like I said, we're going to be doing about a 2-hour show there. We'll grab people, and talk to fans and try to grab some drivers. And so sounds like a great. It's going to be a great time. And then the EMMR auction is it in the same spot or is it?
Yeah, it's right when you walk through the pit gates on the back stretch there, right inside. Right inside the gate as you walk in, and then the chili cook-off's a little further down the way from them. But it's all there together. That goes on right before the chili cook-off and into the chili cook-off anyway, as far as people walking around. But so you can't go wrong coming in early on a Saturday for that deal. A lot of people. It sounds like a lot of people are camping this year. Yes. I'm getting that. I'm hearing that a lot. Yeah. And again, I just feel like, me personally, I feel like there was a really good vibe so far about the National Open this year than there's been in the past. And since I'm a kid anyway, I feel like it's kind of caught on a little bit again. And whether people are there to party or watch racing, it doesn't matter.
Either way,
enjoying both is fun, So, yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to being a part of it. And, again, it's always good to be back here. Get to see Mom and Dad tomorrow at Moose's LZ. Of course, Moose's is a sponsor of my Morning Minute that I do every morning. And Kevin and Pam Zerfoss are the parents of Brock Zerfoss. Mm-hmm. And, so that restaurant, if you've never been to Moose's, man, whew, that's some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. I don't say that just because they sponsored my deal, but like that is.
Oh, you hear that a lot, yeah.
Private stock cheesesteak. If you ever go out, fellas, private stock cheesesteak. Once you have it, you'll never eat anything else again.
That sounds good. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah,
We were talking about the camping because we were talking about this a little earlier today. We usually get a whole we have like a group chat of everybody that we're trying to get together for our camp, and we probably have our biggest camp amount of people ever. We have people coming from upstate New York, New Jersey, all over, just to come to this, and some of them it's their first World of Outlaw race. It's never got in, never did a sprint car race before even, and it's you're right. We felt it at the Summer Nationals. Obviously, part of that was TJ winning, and the campground was electric. But I do think there is a lot of momentum going into this National Open. It's been a few years.
Across the state, across the country, I've been meeting a lot of first timers. So that's where we show that sprint car racing's in a good place right now. Just there's a lot of first timers at all the tracks we go to, but again, the buzz like I'm hearing for Williams Grove is outstanding. That's good to hear that you're going to have a big group. It's almost so much fun that you don't know how to handle it. I mean, it's kind of cool because everybody will ask me to come visit them, and it's a little hard because I haven't, I'm working some of the night, where everybody else is kind of having a good time. So once I'm closed up and I get out there in the campground a little bit, it's hard to catch up to everybody else. So everybody's in pretty good mood. But yeah, I mean, I feel like last year was pretty fun. The National was really fun, but I think this year you're just going to see a whole different vibe. And obviously, I have noticed like people in central Pennsylvania, they like to watch the weather too. So weather's the big factor in this as well. Seeing good weather, they've probably been watching it for 25 days now.
Yep.
And confirmed.
Guilty.
Yeah, they're coming because, there's some weather watchers in this area, man. If they even hear the word rain, they're making other plans. So it's good that the weather's cooperating for us this week. And unfortunately, this hurricane screwed things up for everybody this past weekend, but moving forward, it looks good. So.
And then before we get to some fan questions and some other stuff, tell us about you touched on it before, but the pumpkin contest that you're doing this weekend.
Yeah, I tried. I'm trying to add more stuff to my artillery, and trying to help everybody else in the circle. Like I'm kind of like trying to involve everybody. So, I tried a site decorating contest 3 years ago, and it was okay. But then, the people at the chili cook-off kind of got a little like, I don't know. They didn't like that fact that I was doing that, and it kind of overshadowed them a little bit. So I made, I worked with them a little bit on it. I said, I'll do something different. And I thought, well, pumpkin carving contest can get a little more people involved, even if they're not camping. So last year we did it, Williams Grove and obviously Port Royal, we were racing there as well. And what a turnout. I had a great turnout, man. So people, I think we had like a little over 15 to 20 pumpkins at Williams Grove and probably about 25 at Port Royal. So hopefully it'll catch on and some more will bring it down. They'll bring them down on Friday to the trailer, and we'll set them out on display. And I think we're going to try something different. I think we're going to let the fans pick the winners by buying a ticket for $1. And I think we're going to take that money and give it to Chase Johnson. So
that's awesome.
If I can get a little, if I can get that going, we'll see. It might only be a couple $100s or whatever, but I think people would buy a ticket for $1 for a good cause. So
absolutely,
and a chance to vote. So I think that's how I'm going to pull it off this year. I'm going to let the fans kind of pick it instead of picking judges. Last year I've had some secret judges pick, but we'll see how that works out, and we'll let the winners know who they are on Saturday. Got some good prizes for them, and then we'll let them take their pumpkins. If they don't, if anybody wants to pick some up, and I still have some left, come and get them, because I think don't horses eat them or something? They're good for somebody on a farm.
You probably, yeah. I would.
Pigs probably eat them. So anyway, I can't take them. I'm not going to eat them, and my cats won't. So if they don't pick them up, so if anybody wants these leftover pumpkins, come and get them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've had a lot of fun with stuff like that, and I try to get everybody in the spirit a little bit, the fall spirit, the Halloween spirit. Unfortunately, we're not going to Port Royal, so I didn't really plan anything for Lincoln, just because we didn't know we were going to Lincoln until a couple weeks ago. But that's where we're at with that.
That's awesome. So yeah, definitely get down to the trailer on Friday night. I think that's great. that's a great idea. Doing that, a ticket for $1 to vote for
Yeah.
Chase Johnson. That's a fantastic idea. And do it for a good cause and pick a winner and got some prizes that you're going to give out on Saturday then.
Yeah, the stuff's hard. Sometimes when I do things like this, it's a little hard to do. When you're trying to do your job too. But fortunately, Williams Grove is a steady flow for us. There's a good mix of Outlaw fans and Posse fans. So not everybody's standing in front of my trailer. They're over there supporting local guys too, on the other side there with their trailers. So it works out. I like to see everybody happy and everybody making a little bit of money. So people get their last minute shirts for the year and all that. Coming up here this weekend, and especially the ones that can't make it to the World Finals.
Right. A couple questions here from the fans. Tyler Koenig asked, "What is Wes's favorite National Open memory from the past?"
Probably my favorite is one I can't remember because I got partying too much. So it's hard to say. Probably the best time I ever had, I wouldn't remember it, but. There was back in the day, before I even worked for the Outlaws, and I was still racing, but obviously we weren't racing in October. But, I just remember campgrounds being really, really big before they started sectioning them off there. They didn't have that security deal all the time. And, you would line up, you would park outside, and they still do it. You'd park out by the gate. And I think I'd get there like 3 days early just to get to our spot for our people because I had a weird schedule. I was a hairstylist at the time, so I could set my own schedule. That's what I did so I could race cars. But I didn't have to work hard. I worked a couple 20 hours a week and I made money. But I would pull the RV up there and sit there for 2-3 days on the long side of the road, and then they'd open it up. It looked like a California gold rush, man. They'd open that gate and people would be on the hammer. And I mean, you see RVs bouncing in the air, just these people trying to stake off their claim,
Yeah.
Because back then that's what you did. And I'd roll. I remember jumping out of my RV, and I don't even know if I hit the brakes, but I threw it in the park, jumping out with a hammer and some stakes in my hand and just sectioning off my area before somebody else rolled into it. But those were always fond memories, but kind of pressury,
Yeah.
But I can remember camping up with Keith Prutzman when he had he had the buck rubs thing going on up there in the campground, and he kind of got shut down with that though. I was a DJ for him one year. Doing that, so you had some of the entertainers there, and there was a lot of people in that campground every night. But yeah, just a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun there. I can remember hanging out with Stu from Beer Hill one night. Him and I stayed up for hours. Then the sun was coming up. It was just me and him. Me and Stu. They call him the mayor. Well, I do anyway. And him and I just talked for hours, and we walked around, and I couldn't even remember where my camper was. So there's been a lot of them, But now they're a little different, Now that I work for the Outlaws, I just I tend to only go to a handful of campgrounds. I tend to hang out with a couple guys close by, and a lot of people know who they are. But it's fun. I like to have a good time.
Yeah, I kind of had a Summer Nationals was kind of a similar. It was like 5 in the morning, and Chris had to come find me.
Find him and lead him home.
We're trying to get Johnny Gibson to drink a beer out of our big traffic cone. It was a good time.
Yeah,
He did not do it.
I think maybe I got older. They don't get as wild as they used to, but who knows? Maybe I'll pull one out of my hat this weekend coming up. But I tend to hang over there with Travis Lobb. I don't know if you know that guy, but hang out in his little area. With Travis and Todd and them guys, and it's safer for me to do that.
I'll have to find you guys. I like Travis. He's a good dude. I got to know him a lot this year.
He's awesome.
Met him at Cody Hartlob's preseason party, and see him every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night. Williams Grove and Lincoln, and the random Port Royal show. So good dude.
Another guy that's passionate about the sport and does what he can to be a part of it, and that's with tow trucks. And all these guys play a factor, man, all the way down to the fan. So it's awesome.
No doubt.
A couple other. I do want to shout out Finn Lou here. Says make sure he knows the Outlaws are going home empty-handed this weekend. So
we'll have to see about that, but you never know, right?
Trash talking already starting. And then we have a two related questions going back to when you were talking about what you kind of do out on the road. Marie asked, what is the best ball game that I guess that you've seen this year?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, so like baseball is like my love, man, and I'm very fortunate to catch a lot of major and minor league games across the country, and it's really cool to like get a new one in. And I got one in of a team that I've been a fan of since I'm a little kid, and that was the Milwaukee Brewers. Finally, they were at home while we were up there. Every time it seems like we were in Wisconsin, those son bitches were away, and they were home this time around. And it was kind of funny. I stayed at this guy's place, and he took me to the game, and he said to me ahead of time, he said, "Well, they play, Tuesday and Wednesday they're home. Which day would you rather go?" And I said to him, I was texting him back. I said, "Well, let me take a look at the weather." And he probably thought, now that I'm thinking about it, he probably thought, "What an idiot!" But because the place has a cover on it. It has a roof. It has a closing roof.
I was just going to say that.
So I texted him. Well, I called him back and I said, "Hey, look, let's go on Wednesday because let's go on Wednesday because it's gonna rain Tuesday." And he's like, "Wes, it has a roof on it." I'm like, "Oh shit!" So it was really a weird experience to see him play in. I never seen baseball indoor like that.
Yeah,
So that was an experience in itself. But just to see a team I've always kind of liked. Growing up and never thought, hey man, I'll never see them. I'll never be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
right.
Well, I was, and I got to see them. So, but I've seen a lot of cool games. I've seen 12 of them this year, and everything from major league to minor league. I even seen a small town ball league called Fighting Fish in Wisconsin as well. So, got to see a playoff game, and there in California, one of the minor league teams out there made it to the playoffs. So they played their first game at home. So, even got to see one out there, which was kind of cool. But, yeah, so I'd have to say the Brewers were the best one this year. I mean, obviously, when I stay with Kenny Wallace, I stay there like twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. I park at Kenny's house. And when you park at Kenny's house, you're going to a Cardinals game, whether you like it or not. And I like it now because I've been to like 14, 17 games now, I think. And I become a really big fan of the Cardinals, actually. So it's always fun to go there. And this year we got to go, and a friend of his involved in racing that has a little bit of money, had box seats right behind home plate where they bring you the beer and the food and everything.
Oh yeah.
And you don't pay for nothing. We had seats like that, and him and I and Linda and his wife, we were on TV the whole night. It was kind of fun, but right behind the catcher. So it's been a fun year again, and I look for more fun. Guys, I just when I wake up in the morning, I'm like so thankful that I woke up, and so everything after that is just a freaking bonus. So I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's how I live life. I'm a beach loving, reggae listening. Don't want to get in a fight. Just want to be a good guy and enjoy life. That's who I am. And at the end of the day, that's all I care about. It's a tough world out here. It's very hard to even be in a position I'm in. It's tough. It's tough to open your page up in the morning and see some jackwagon making a comment that's so stupid. It's like, wow, man, seriously, do I have to start the day like this?
Yeah.
But I'm very blessed to do what I do. And I can understand why people would want to have my job.
Let me ask you this off the wall question, kind of related. Favorite minor league baseball team name?
Oh, name? Well, name or team?
Team. Like
team?
For
instance, that's always going to be the Sioux Falls Canaries, man. Been to probably, I think we counted 12 games. I've been to them already. When we're out of Houston, I always get to see the guys down at Sioux Falls. Got to know the clubhouse manager really well there. He no longer is there. He moved to a team in Chicago. But for 6 years at least, I'd go at least 2 games a year. And, dude, that was so much fun knowing that guy. Invited us into the tunnels and the clubhouse and went to batting practice and got to do all that stuff. Just a fun little team. And now they're owned by the guys that own that men's line called Dukes. They own it now, and just a fun bunch of people. I got to see them this year. I was afraid I wasn't going to get to one of their games, but I got lucky and got to see them the last time we were at Houston. So they let me park out in the parking lot right outside of center field. So the trailer caught a lot of home runs on the side of it, but you can't beat that thing up. But yeah, I'd have to say the Sioux Falls Canaries are my favorite minor league. I've seen a lot of them, but they have to be my favorite. The Nashville Sounds would probably be my second one.
That's cool. And the reason I say that, I don't know all of them. I don't travel that much, but the one that has stuck with me, and I did get to see it in travel, was the Kannapolis Cannonballers. That is such a cool name, and the
Yeah.
logo. Like, I didn't know it was like a thing, and then when I bought a hat. I went to the stadium. I just wandered in one day. The gates were open, and I wandered around on like a 45-degree misty day, and they had the merch stuff open. I was like, this is the coolest shit. It's like Dale Earnhardt's
Yeah.
face on a cannonball. I'm like,
Nice.
this is cool. Like, it was
Yeah,
the neatest thing ever. So that's why
I know
the
I
minor league
know
teams
of
always have cool names.
I know of that team, but obviously we're never in that area for me to go catch a
Right.
game at that time of the year. So, it's kind of funny. We're based out of there, out of North Carolina, Concord, and I probably see the office 2-3 days of the whole year. So, I don't get to see much around there except for when we're at the World Finals, and then that's pretty much spent working and getting ready to get the hell out of there so I can head back south. But, yeah, I'd like to go see them one day. I've heard of them.
Pretty cool. What do you got? What else we got, guys?
Where was the other one? Oh, Randy Cobb. This is kind of related to that as well. What's the best or biggest concert you got to see through your travels?
Concert?
Yeah.
Oh, I got lucky last year. My buddy Heath Forbes, who's a recording artist that lives in Nashville, who, if you guys heard my song, that guy wrote a song and produced and just released it not too long ago called Living Like Outlaws. So everybody look that up. It's called Living Like Outlaws by Heath Forbes. You can get it on Spotify. The song was inspired by my life, so that's kind of cool. But
Awesome.
last year, I was coming into Nashville, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to take you to see Kiss." So that was kind of badass, man.
Oh, wow.
I got to see Kiss at the where the Predator, or I guess the Predators, that's what they're called, where they play in the arena there in Nashville. So that was probably the coolest one this year, obviously.
Breaking news: Briggs Danner will be in 39 at Williamsgrove. I'm just scrolling through here and I saw that. So that's a entry that we didn't expect.
Nice. Yes, Ray, that's spring. That's cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyler, for that news. Yeah, I mean, just go scrolling through the comments here. So many people just. And we had Ron Rutherford on last week, and he was kind of the same deal where just so many people are just showing their appreciation for you, for everything that you do, for just the racing community in general. So there's a lot of comments here.
That's
like
cool,
that.
man. It's good. It's good to know that. It's good to know that, it's working. You worry a lot about making yourself sound cocky or it all about you, and when really I try to be so honest. It's not about me. It's about the fans. It's about all the kids, and I just really want to do my part. I wasn't always the best kid in the world growing up, and I wasn't always the best adult growing up. But this is my time to help the sport I love, and that's what I do.
Man, that's awesome. We typically ask drivers. We each have our own question, and then Jimmy thanks sponsors. So this is going to be different, but I think we can still pull this off because you've driven, you've been around the country, you live this. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I ask every driver this. Now, I think yours could be a little different in the way you answer it because you may not have answers from a driver's perspective, but you can also frame this from your viewer perspective. Okay, so if you don't have a driver that comes to mind for each of these, what I ask everybody is you got to name me 2 drivers. Name someone who you have or would love to race around. It looks like a blast. You're going to race each other clean. You're going to enjoy the hell out of it every lap. And somebody who's a pain in your ass, a thorn in your side. I call it the Ryan Newman effect, where they're hard to pass. You can't get by them. Whatever the case may be. It's not a shot at anyone, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
this could be from your past, or this could be from some of your observations that you see around the country.
Right on. Man, if I got to race with somebody from past or present, I think I would enjoy racing with Donnie Schatz, man. I mean, just a clean driver, just to be around that guy's, he's just a good dude. So it'd be fun to be on the track with him. Somebody I'd want to stay away from, or at least watch, or not stay away from, but is one of the harder guys to get around in lap traffic per se. I would say probably, man. Yeah, I don't want to call anybody out on this one, dude. I've seen some. I have nothing against them, but I just seen some that are really, really It looks like they're really, really
Yes.
hard to pass or
And
lap.
that's
You know,
the thing, that's the spirit of it. Not somebody you
Yeah.
dislike. It has nothing to do with that. We've had
Right.
some guys do that, and that's okay. But
Yeah,
that's not really
sure.
the spirit
Sure,
of
the
it.
drivers have. Yeah. You know, oh man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think right now that like when he's getting lapped, and it's not too often anymore because he's gotten really, really good in the car, and I think the more time he puts in, the better he gets. Is Brock Zierfoss, man. That guy is hard to pass. I think Bill Baylog's a hard one to pass too. Those guys just know how to use the track, use it up where it's like, man, do I go low? Do I go high? You don't know what they're going to do. So maybe Brock a little bit, Brock just seems like a hard hard customer to pass on the track. But
I like that. And I'm going to go back a little bit. You said something, and Brad actually just mentioned about Macri at the Grove. Macri's won a lot of races at the Grove, but he hasn't won the big ones yet. And that is an interesting kind of thing that struck me when you said it earlier about he's won from the back this year. He's won, he's dominated some races. He shows the speed, but forgive me if I'm wrong here, but has he won a big one yet, guys?
I don't think so. Not at Williams
At the
Grove.
Grove. Yeah, because there was a time, if I recall, and we kind of jokingly did it before we ever had this podcast, that like Justin Whittall got a win before Anthony Macri at Williams Grove, and Justin was getting going, right? But I think it's all changed now, but it's only been a couple years since Macri's really found his speed at Williams Grove. So, that is kind of, it didn't strike me until you said that. And I'm thinking, well, you're right.
He hasn't stood out to me when we're there. Like when we're there, I don't know how he is when we're not there. I mean, obviously he's a talented race car driver, and he can run with us, but like he just never stood out at Williams Grove to me. Like I didn't it was like where's Anthony Macri? I don't even see him. It's one of them deals. So maybe just gets nervous there for the National Open. I don't know where the races are. Who knows? But yeah, definitely a good driver. I just haven't seen him do anything when we're there. So maybe it's his time to shine.
Yeah, we need it. We'll need him this weekend. I just have a feeling we're gonna need a full out effort. Chris, go ahead.
I usually ask favorite race or race you would most want to win, but is there a race that's most special for you to go to, an event, whether it be on the tour now or in your past, just a race or track that you just enjoy going to the most?
Yeah, I try to find the good in all the tracks, something good about each and every one of them, because it really is a hard question when you're going to, 90 plus races or, 70 different tracks a year. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint one out. But I'd have to say recently, River Cities has been like, up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, has been kind of my favorite. Maybe it's because of the people I know up there. There's a couple of reasons why. The racing's been fairly good. I don't know, something about being up there. I kind of like that one, but I do like something about each and every one of them. They all have their unique thing.
Mm-hmm. Usually I would just say, hey, you want to thank some sponsors after. Before we get into that, I do want to pick your brain on something or just get your opinion. There's been a lot, we're starting to get in the silly season. A lot of, get to the end of the season, people are starting to make their 2025 plans. We've heard some things about, maybe some guys coming to the Outlaw Tour, that maybe you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but from what because you're kind of there, you're pretty close to the situation, what does next year kind of look like? It bigger, better?
It looks really, really good, actually. The talent that's headed our way, just going to step it up a whole nother level. So, it looks real good from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. But, you don't want to, I've heard things before.
Mm-hmm.
The end of when the end of the season was coming, and then they change real quick, like. So, I don't want to speculate, but it's looking really good. A good crop of rookies, actually. Probably more rookies than they've had together in a while, but all classy guys too. So it's looking really, really good. We already know Cole Macedo's coming out with Wayne Johnson, so that ought to be a good combination. Wayne loves the World of Outlaws, and I love Wayne, and so he's very gung ho about being on the tour. Wayne's been out here with us before, so I'm looking forward to him being around. And if Cole's ends up being the driver, then that's awesome. It'll be cool to see both the Macedos out there. I hear people say, well, he's pretty wild and blah, blah, blah. Well, and I'm sure Wayne's not going to want to fix a lot of cars. So, hopefully that combination works out really well. It'll be cool to see Cole out here. Cole seems like a good kid. I don't know him as well as I know Carson, but I know Wayne really well, so I know he's stoked. So we know that one's coming out. But there are a couple other ones. Yes, it's going to be pretty good.
We're excited to hear that. We've heard some things, and it's just funny to go out on Twitter and X or whatever it's called now and see people just like, oh yeah, this person's going here, this person's going there, and everybody has their rumor, and it's just kind of it's part of the fun,
Yeah, and there's some guys switching rides, which is going to cause some guys to go from one series to another now, just because of ride switches or whatever. But it sounds like everybody's going to have a good amount of talent on both sides of the fence, and that's cool. I guess that's what it's all about. I'm not picking sides. Just because I work for the Outlaws doesn't mean nothing. I just hope everybody enjoys racing in 2025. It ought to be pretty decent, especially on the Outlaw side.
Absolutely. And we're
what's the number one seller out of the merch trailer?
Well, I'd have to say, there's a couple T-shirts that are hot right now, but we got a kids book, this ABC book. It's great, man. People are buying it left and right. It's the coolest little thing ever, and they work great for autographs too. So I see that going a lot. We were selling the hell out of straw hats this summer, and then we ran out, and it was hard to get them. But it's been a fun year. A little bit of everything.
You guys always have a nice variety there. So
they certainly do. Now, for me, and this is just me because I'm in that damn thing a lot. I look at everything and I start to lose interest, but that's just because I'm in it all the time.
Right.
So what people are seeing for the first time of the year is like, wow, this stuff's really cool. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I have to look at it all the time. And it's a known fact. I mean, I don't even have one on tonight. It's a known fact. I don't wear racing T-shirts. I wear, Hurley, Billabong, Quicksilver. That's the kind of clothing I wear. I just like soft shirts. So it's no surprise that I don't wear this stuff. So I only wear it because if I have to.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
But I have every driver's shirt, so I don't know why. I live in a box, man, and I probably have 200 T-shirts in there.
So yeah, we want to thank you for so much. We're at almost an hour and a half here, and we really, really appreciate taking the time and joining us. Man. And before we let you go, and I'm sure we'll see you this weekend at Natty, but let us know, obviously, who we know the World of Outlaws and everything, but who helps you get up and down the road, actually? Who supports you throughout the year?
As far as well, I mean, I got a few sponsors, you know what I mean, that help me out. You got Moose's LZ, obviously. I got Design Metal Art in Knoxville, Iowa. The Hall of Fame, the Knoxville National Hall. They do a lot for me. There's some things going on there. I had a couple other sponsors lined up, but we kind of working on that. But I got a girl now, and she's been a big supporter of it. It's not easy for her, that's for sure. This whole I always want to tell people it's new, but it's been almost 2 years now, and it's definitely different. I'm trying to figure out a way to make that work out and still be able to do this stuff is going to be hard, but we'll make it work on it, I should say. But I'm a lifer, man. I'm not going anywhere. Maybe eventually someday I'll do what everybody else does and fly home a lot more often as soon as I get a home. I don't have one. So, that's the cool thing about this deal is I live in this for 10 months. And then now I have an RV that I live in for the other 2 months and don't own a house. I don't even own a vehicle, man. I sold my Jeep, 5-6 years ago. And I don't need a vehicle.
Right.
Having one. So, I have a Honda Ruckus that's tagged that I have in the trailer that I can ride that around. But anymore today, because of the page and the social media platform that Living Like Outlaws is on, I've made so many friends. I mean, it's just like coming here and staying with Sam. He gives me a car to use. So I have a lot of that going on now in my life. And it's like, why even get a car? So my bills are very, very, very little. The company pays for some of them, So I think I got a Spotify bill maybe and my Spotify. I don't really have any bills, so life is good.
That's great.
But it's a different lifestyle, and you gotta love it. So, but there'll be a time probably where I'll have a home again, and try to fly home a little more often. So we'll get into that world down the line here. But yeah, that's it. My parents are really cool about me doing this. They're getting up in age, and I worry about them a lot. And it's one of them deals. It's like, man, how long are my parents going to be able to go without having me around? And it's that's a hard one. That's probably the toughest one. Really, is not seeing them and just talking to them here and there. But I think they love that I love this, and I think they're happy for me. So I don't feel so bad, I guess. But it's just tough. It's a really tough deal. You guys take things for granted when you have a home life, and I don't. So again, different. But the people that support me, lots of good friends, man, that I made along the way that keep me focused and keep me happy about doing what I'm doing, because sometimes it can be one of those days where you're like, man, what am I doing? And so I got a big support system that way of positive people, and that's what I try to put around me. I'm not a big fan of negative Nancy's anymore, and I pretty much call them out the minute I see them anymore. So,
What does your off season look like?
Quick. It looks freaking quick. Well, for the last 5 years now, I was living in Fort Myers Beach, Florida. Well, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had a hurricane come through there and screw some things up for me. And then just, a couple of years ago, those real big ones that really destroyed it. So I've been actually staying at Volusia Speedway Park, which is owned by the World Racing Group, who I work for. And they got a small campground there. And, I have a pace truck for a driver while I'm down there. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. And then I've been working on the safety team there for Shane Wood for a couple big events like the Rudiman, the Sunshine Nationals. They got some 360 races that I was safety official for. So I've been doing that. So that makes the month go, December and January go by pretty fast, because I only get out of North Carolina about mid-November. So we get the trailer unloaded and stuff. Then I'll head to Florida. This year I'm going to stay in Kansas for a couple weeks. For obvious reasons, that's where Linda lives. So I'll be in Kansas City, probably freezing my ass off. And not a big fan of that, but we'll make it work. And then I'll shoot to Florida, but I'm not quite sure I'm going to stay at the Speedway as long as I normally do. So I probably will only be there like January this year. But it goes so fast, man. Mid-January, I'm getting a call from the office. Hey, your stuff is in, your trailer's done, your truck's ready. Then I got to go up there and get rid of my RV, and I'll get up there and we load that thing back up. I'm up there for about 4 or 5 days, and then I'm headed back to Florida. And you only have a couple more days before Dirt Car National starts. So, but I'm in Florida for a while, obviously, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing Bike Week again. It seems to be working pretty good for us down there. Yeah. And but it goes fast. It really does. I've been asked to do a lot of things over the winter, and I don't know if I can jam them all in there. Chatty Matty's wedding, I'd like to go to that, but don't know if I'll make it out there. If you aren't familiar with Chatty Matty, Madeline Schultz from the IRA, she does her little show, but she's a good kid. The Chili Bowl was an opportunity arose for me there. I don't know if I can do that. I got some friends in New Zealand that want me to come over. Obviously, my friends in Australia want me to come over. I haven't been there in a while. It's been a long time. I'd like to get back over there. And the people that are involved with me in England want me to come there. So, I got a lot of options, but not a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Well,
Most likely I'll probably just end up on a beach sitting there drinking cocktails.
That's
great,
not a
too.
bad third option or fifth option or sixth option, to be honest. So, man, we appreciate the time so much. We're looking forward to getting up there this weekend, and we'll make sure we link up, say hi.
Yeah.
And,
yes, sir.
You can't miss Travis Lobb. So I'm sure if I'll find him, I'll find you nearby.
Yeah, he's if you find my toter home, he's camped not too far from me. So if you know where the driver's section is there, where we usually have our RVs and stuff. Well, if they don't get stuck there. I bet you that shit's pretty wet over there right now.
Yeah, it probably is, yeah.
Hopefully it dries up. But, Travis ain't too far from there. And he's got a big fire going all the time because he knows I get cold. So he'll always have a fire stoked for me.
Well, good deal. We'll catch you this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I'm honored to be on something that mainly drivers are on. So for somebody on the other side of the fence, I guess you could say, it's kind of cool to be on this thing. And hopefully we gave you guys the information you wanted to hear. And please follow Living Like Outlaws on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. And we appreciate that. I'm going to make it keep growing. Big apparel line coming out eventually here. I'm working on that and having my own apparel line. And we've done some stuff before with that, but looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to like turning it up a notch, and the youth program's looking like it's going to be really strong going in the next year. And just happy, exhausted, but happy.
Good deal.
Good way to have it, man. I'll take it. I appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Wes.
You guys.
See you guys.
Good. Awesome interview there. We kind of knew going into that he was going to be a good interview just because he has such a unique perspective, which is something that that drew us to ask him to come on.
He's got to be the busiest guy with no home ever. Like this guy's got a million things going on, man. That definitely fills up his time. And it was interesting. As he was talking there, talking about being on the road and what he does throughout the week. And it's a tough life for these crew guys. And I've seen crew guys go, it's a tough life, but we'd rather be working. Once the car's done for the weekend maintenance, we have 3-4 days. We don't do anything. They just sit around in the hotel and do whatever they do, right? Try to stay out of trouble, not spend money. He has filled his time, it sounds like, with something all the time in every location. And man, and he has the energy for it clearly. So it's probably a good combination of filling his time with things that are giving back. Not just, obviously, revenue and making money for himself and making a living, but there could be that same amount of downtime, travel, get there. When you're there that long, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, what do you fill your time with? So super cool that he's found ways to give back to the community, not just here, internationally, giving back to the community and kids and other things to fill up that time with. And we could use more Wes's, that's for sure. So that was fun.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously go like his page, Living Like Outlaws. Go to the merch trailer. Go see him this weekend if you don't catch him in the campground. Really cool dude. We're happy to have him on. I guess right before we go here, maybe we could just do a little quick preview here. Obviously, we're going to be doing a live stream at the Chili Cook-Off around 10 a.m. to about noon. We'll see how it goes. Noon, upside down, question mark, maybe. We'll see how long it goes. But we're going to try to pull in some drivers. We're working on a couple different ones that aren't there just to judge and stuff like that. So trying to get Chris and Seth here on this foot race.
I finally have a fan. Santos, finally, somebody's cheering for me to win this foot race. Seth will be one of the only Dietrich that's not going to win this weekend.
And the loser, I bought the one chip challenge, and then also the world's hottest gummy bear. So if you don't like chips, you can eat the gummy bear. Whoever loses. So that should be that's just content right there. That's good content.
I don't know if Seth isn't going to keep being a coward. He's been dodging. He walked up after saying that I was a coward. Walked up and said he wasn't racing. Brad was a witness. Also, I think Brad's trying to smuggle in a keg. I'm not really sure how he's going to do that.
On his scooter, he said it.
I just don't know how he's going to attach it. It's a tank, but I didn't see a trailer.
So here's where I'm at. Matthew said, got to put that live. I don't even care if the race is live. I want the live part to be whoever has to eat that shit. And I want to see what
it's a whole thing.
We may witness a health condition on live TV.
Yeah.
It's going to go
We'll make sure
viral.
We got to make sure we have some milk for whoever does, because milk is something that will help.
Loser has to run and find it.
You won't be able to run.
You got to run around the campground, find your own milk. Oh my God, that's great. Running with a camera, running around. Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean,
but yeah, we have
first reunion in the infield. Yes, we will be in the infield somewhere those 2 days. I'll be running around the track. These guys will definitely be, backstretch infield down toward turn 3-ish.
Brad,
across from Bear Hill. We'll be yelling Beer Hill sucks.
Brad, you know where to find me, buddy.
Beer Hill doesn't suck, but we got to go back.
3 signs to lose this year instead of getting one stolen.
Yes.
We can bring a sign hanging on the fence.
I got one here.
Where we're at. So.
This will be the one that we use. We got 3 of them. We came prepared.
We got.
No, we didn't.
We got signs. Maybe if we get there early enough inside to claim a spot at the fence, we'll hang our T2T sign on the fence. You can come up, say hi.
Hell
The
yeah.
boys will be there. They may not be. It depends on how late it is, on how much English you get, but we'll be there.
Yeah. We're gonna try to behave on Friday because we got to work, Saturday
We
morning.
do have to get up early Saturday, and Chris, Jimmy, you guys are
You're not.
camping. If you
Yes.
two show up Saturday morning, right, belligerently drunk still, I'm kicking both of your asses.
That won't
I-
happen.
I've been
You'll be
watching
up.
Friday Night Lights. I be like Tim Riggins here, man. I'll be fine.
If there's a repeat of Summer Nationals Friday night.
No.
We were fine on Saturday.
Don't throw your freaking
I
hands
was
in the air
fine.
like you.
I was fine.
Chris.
Jimmy was hurt.
We don't need to.
I was
get into it
fine on
again and
Saturday.
relive this. Okay, we don't need to relive the shenanigans and the shit you were doing that night. Okay, you don't
I
even
was in-
remember half.
I remember everything. I found Jimmy at 4 a.m. That's what I remember.
Okay,
No,
I'm
it's
just,
fun the
I'm
next
just
day.
warning you two. You're not old.
Yes, Dad.
You're not too damn old to get your ass kicked by this old guy. All
We're
right?
too damn old to go that hard and be there
No,
at 10 a.m.
We're focused on. We're going to be focused on business. We're going to have some fun too. You better know as soon as that live stream stops and we're tearing down, then it's time to turn up.
There we go.
But maybe we'll even have a beer or two during the
Picks.
chili cook-off. We'll see.
Picks to
But
win.
picks to win Friday night. Probably going to be fast track. I think both nights are going to end up being fast, to be honest.
Just pick the National Open winner because that's hard enough.
Huh?
Picking both nights. I'm going to pick the same guy. Just pick the National Open winner.
I don't know if I'm going to pick the same guy.
I am.
I'm looking for a split between the Outlaws and hopefully a Posse guy. I don't know. I don't really have, but other than that, I'm thinking Macri maybe Friday, and then Saturday I could see Gravel or Shots.
Okay.
Aaron Pittman. I'm gonna ride the
Which
train
one?
again. Both.
Both. I'm taking Pittman Friday, Brent Marks Saturday.
Brent's going to be a factor for sure. I do agree
Even
with
if
that.
the season hasn't been what he hoped, Natty Open time that thing's ready to go. So
If we're gonna do the 2-pick thing like you gave Wes, I was gonna go Pittman and Danny Dietrich were my 2. I did it.
Dark horse is Troy. Troy Wogman's going to be my dark horse. I think he factors into this somehow.
TJ Stutz is my dark horse.
Ooh, yeah, TJ will be.
Justin Whittle is my dark horse.
There we go.
Those are
Hell
3
yeah.
good dark horses.
Those are 3 really good dark horses.
But outlaw wise, I'm going Macedo. If an outlaw's gonna win, Macedo and Shots are my 2.
Yeah. I know Wes was saying that Gravel's hot, and he is. He's getting back
Yeah, I mean,
hot
I'm not
again, but I would argue that maybe Macedo's hotter right now.
I don't
he had a
want to bet
really good
against
West Coast
Gravel.
swing.
I just don't also want to pick Gravel.
Yeah, I agree. But on Saturday morning, we're going to be talking more about this. That's going to be a big part of the live stream. Is we'll recap Friday night, and then we'll give our predictions for Saturday. So if you can't make it that early, check us out live. And then, if you are there, if you're camping or you're coming to the National Open, come a little bit early. Go get some chili. Go to the MMR auction and come watch the Turn 2 Terribles live. And we'll do basically like we do here. We'll just we'll try to interview some drivers.
Yep.
We'll do some predictions. Give our thoughts. Hear your thoughts, and hopefully, Seth is eating a really hot gummy bear by the end of it.
And really, what we need the fans to do here is just keep tagging Seth Dietrich every single day until Saturday on every post until he confirms a time and a place.
Yep. Tag Seth and T2T.
I'm
Tag
here
us both in
live
the
saying
post.
I'm ready to go, laced up. Not even scared.
Yeah. Somebody should be on the phone with him right now, texting him, calling him, blowing up his Snapchat about
He's
this, and we're
probably
talking about him again.
Finding a way to get grounded by Billy right now.
Yeah, Chris can't race girls anymore. Okay.
But Seth though, he's the one
what
who
do you
keeps bailing.
I know, but like, you can't be racing girls
So you're
anymore.
saying I can't race
and
my
calling it a
7-year-old?
win.
No, you can't race your
Not
7-year-old.
Fair, man.
I'm excited for this weekend. Our camp is going to be big. It's pretty wild. We got people coming from all over, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. Just real quick, going through some comments. People are already putting their drink it and dump it in. We weren't even going to do a drink it or dump it just because.
You guys get to do it this
You
week.
get to do it.
You guys get to do it, so we'll
We will
save
have
ours.
some on Saturday.
But let's go real quick. Go through these real quick. Tyler says Friday winner Donnie Schott, Saturday winner Danny Dietrich. Bold prediction: Briggs Danner makes the National Open Saturday night. I could see that for sure. Briggs is going to be. He's a hell of a driver, man. He's just. That should be interesting to see. Marie says Friday gravel, Saturday Sheldon. Randy Kopp says drink it for all the rescue emergency volunteers helping with the hurricane victims. Dump it to all the people who lost their lives from the hurricane. Absolutely. Just watching all the devastation down there is heart-wrenching. You never want to see that. And how far it has spanned, from Florida all the way up to, almost West Virginia pretty much. It's wild. Santos says, I'm going with Pittman Friday, gravel Saturday. Marie says, drink it to USAC, getting the BC 39 in yesterday. They worked at that all weekend. They had to deal with that weather too. So Cannon McIntosh won, I believe, over Jade, who was close. Dark Horse, TJ Stutz to Santos. Dump it to Carter Holt, getting hurt at I-70. Let's see. Bold prediction, Stutz with another outlaw win, says Mandy. Santos says, drink it to the whole Natty O weekend. Dump it for everyone affected by the hurricane. Matt says, drink it to its finally National Open weekend. Dump it. I lost count how many days of rain we got so far. And Tyler says, drink it to USEC and Jade Abedisian for the Wild Show on Indy Sunday. And dump it to all the hurricane victims. And Dakota says, Chris, Brett Strickler wants to know why it looks like you're in a laundry room.
Because the laundry room is directly behind these things. So that's good observation.
So, there we go. Look at that. Detective Brett Strickler figured it out.
Dakota would have done his job a couple years ago, have a nice Mint 90 wing like these other two kids, but thanks, Dakota.
Oh, good. This was a good one, too, that we do want to point out real quick. Drink it to Dylan Sistey in his ride. He's going to be driving for Bill Rose, the number 6. It was going to be this past weekend, but he'll be having a ride here for National Open. Hopefully that turns into something. And dump it to all this rainy weather. Mandy says, drink it to Jade Abedisian, that USAC race. Chase Johnson posting his video. Looks like he's on the road in the positive direction. Natty Hope and Height. Dump it to rain washing out all the race and hurricane and all the death and destruction. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Wes Irwin. Go follow Living Like Legends. If you're into pumpkin carving and you want to win some prizes, support that. That would be great. And if you don't, go buy a ticket, $1 going to Chase Johnson. It sounds like what he's going to try to do. That sounds amazing. I like that. That's the type of stuff that we need to keep doing as a racing community. And and just go check that out. Come to the National Open. Come to the chili cook-off. Come hang out. It's going to be a great time. It's kind of like one of the last draws for the year. So, I don't think you're going to get better, much better than what it looks like this weekend. So go enjoy it. Guys, any closing thoughts?
See you Saturday. Tag Seth.
Yeah, tag Seth. See you Saturday.